everyone, it's been quite a while. I'm going to show you the process video of how I created this really fun layout. I've been missing some of my products that I've had for years, and this photo has been lying on my desk literally also for a couple of years, and I just knew that it was now the time to work with this photo. Hope you'll enjoy the process. Righto, let's start off. I'm using one of Frank's Saint-Tropez papers. I just love this background, and I'm giving it a nice coat of clear gesso. You'll see I'm just doing the center part because I'm not going to be wetting the outer edges. It is always good to cover paper with clear gesso if you are going to be wetting it or adding mediums to it. You can dry it with your heat tool, or you can leave it to dry naturally. There we go, I've dried it, and now I am placing my photo. I have this piece of cardboard that came with something that I ordered, and I decided that I'm going to use it on a project. I didn't think I was going to use it like this, but when I took the big piece, I thought, wow, what if I just placed it behind the photo just like that? And why don't I create a focal element using the board? I tried to get more off, but it was becoming tedious, so I just decided that's enough texture. I'm going to use very few elements. It's literally some stuff from my stash. I just got the paper. I've had everything else for many moons, especially the mediums and the paints that we'll be using. Some of them I've had for over 10 years, and I hardly ever get to use them. I'm using my favorite stencil that I designed, I think last year or the year before. It's really my go-to stencil. I just love the design. I think Finn also has a similar stencil. I think it's just more diamondish. Mine just has smaller elements and round diamonds and bigger script, I think. But I was inspired by her stencil. I'm using modeling paste through the stencil, and I'm taking too long to talk, and I'm leaving that to dry. I'm going to color my gauze now, and I'm simply using my paint confections from Prima because it has a nice blue, and I wanted to use different products that have been neglected the past few months or years. Oh my word, my Portfolio oil water-soluble pastels. I bought these in 2008 in America when Gail and I were there. I can't believe today when I was cleaning my room that I actually still had them. I have ordered more for the shop because they are absolutely fabulous and the pricing is right. I'm also adding some 13 Arts powder pigment paint with a shimmer. I love the two-tone. Okay, leaving that to dry. Now I am moving on to prepping my board. I'm using Finn's heavy gesso to prep this chipboard or the cardboard. You need a good coating because I'm really going to wet this a lot, and I'm putting it to one side and I'm drying it. I want to distress my photo, and I'm showing you 3 ways here to do it. You can use a pair of scissors. There's my Prima tool, and I have to be honest, my favorite is my Tim Holtz distresser. It feels to me as if I have the most control over where I'm distressing. Now I'm working here on a cutting board that I bought at, I think, Mr. Price Home. Henry recommended it because I don't have a Tim Holtz glass cutting mat yet, which I'm going to get soon. Okay, so I'm simply adding some color to my board element. I'm wetting it first, and the first pigment powder I used was primary pigment from Color Arte, and there I'm adding some sparks, and now I'm simply adding some of my watercolors, mixing it with water, adding more of the sparks. This is a bit of a long process. Sorry, this part of the video is a bit long. There I'm using my Perfect Pearls, all products that I really have not used for so long. My sparks, you'll see, actually made those Mm, those gluey things, you know, when you've used a paint and you didn't close it properly or you haven't used it for a long time, it makes those sticky, waxy things. But I'm just using it from the lid. There you can see I'm placing my photo to see if it'll go. And I do feel that I need some brown. I'm using my Coffee Perfect Pearls, I think that's what it's called. And I'm using some of Frank's powders. They're very intense, so be careful when you use those, if you use those. But you can use anything. You can literally you can use just paint. You can use acrylics. I love the sparkle, and I want this piece to really be my main focus that my photo is going to be resting on. You can see that I'm simply continuing the process, and now it needs to dry. It took me quite a while with the heat tool to dry, but you can see that it was well worth it. Placing my elements using some 49 and market flowers that are left over, some Prima flowers, and now I'm going to be adding some color and some shine to my stenciled background. I'm using a Luminate Jacquard product here that I have also had for over 10 years, also bought it in the States in 2008. It's gone a bit grainy, but it still gives a fabulous, fabulous shimmer. These are just wonderful. I've considered whether I should order them again, but I know there are so many different ones on the market. It just goes to show that even many years ago you could get similar products. You know, they just weren't as many as there are now. I'm adding sparks again. I think that's unicorn hair. I do love that color, and I'm going to dry that with my heat tool to make sure that we can move along. You know, if you don't want your paper to wobble too much, it is good to leave it to dry naturally. But as you can see here, I love the way that when you dry it with the heat tool, it makes those little bubbles. It's just added texture. Oh my goodness, when I cleaned out my craft room today, I hadn't been in here for more than 2 months. I found my tape glider. Once again, I also bought this, I think, in 2009. We used to sell them at the shop, but then they just got so expensive, and I didn't even know that I had a tape in it. And I thought it's time that I started using it again. I had forgotten how fabulous it is. Also pulled out my Aleene's tacky glue. Um, I'm surprised it's still working, and that is also 10 years old. It is a fabulous glue. I'm making sure that my paper is flat onto the board because I don't like wobbly pages, and this will be a class in the shop. So I'm adhering my centerpiece, and I want to make sure that it's placed properly between my stencil and stenciled background. I always keep my Canon photo papers cardboard, and I am just putting my photo on this using my tape glider. I'm having so much fun with my tape glider, just to give it a little bit more lift. And maybe I want to tuck something underneath the photo, although I didn't in the end, but you never know. I'm just positioning my gauze, placing it where I think it should go, and I'm simply adhering that with some 3D matte gel. You can use any adhesive. I am going to be applying my art stones with that as well, and you don't need lots. This is not something that's going to take a hammering, and it's a light element, the gauze, so you really don't need half a jar to adhere that. I might go back and add some more adhesive behind the photo, but for now I think that'll do. I'm going to be using my Aleene's quick dry adhesive to apply my flowers, just a nice blob. It does grab quite quickly. I think that one I'm using is the quick grab or something like that. You know, it just enables the flower to sit. The glue takes a while to dry, but at least it grabs, you know, so that it doesn't fall off when you're moving around. But it enables you to reposition it should you not be satisfied with where it is, and it does dry clear. It is a firm favorite of mine, and I think I will be using it a lot more coming in the months to come. It just is an easy product to work with. Tombow is my favorite for gluing things when I'm doing simple paper scrapping, but for these kind of projects I think Aleene's is a better option. I'm using a little chipboard from Graphics, and I just love this one. I actually bought it at Beautiful Scrapbooks last year in September, and I'm going to be heat embossing it with Tukaneko's gold embossing powder, which I do think is one of the finest embossing powders around. You only need one coat of this gold. It gives a beautiful coverage. It's smooth. It's just gorgeous. It's a vintage gold. It's not a yellow gold, but I love the color. I think it is absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to just cut this into two pieces, placing the one underneath my bottom flower cluster and the other one at the top cluster. It's just makes your elements go a longer way, and it's really such a gorgeous little element. I'm using a Celebrate title that I found in one of my boxes. It's always been one of my favorites. You can use it for almost anything. And I'm covering this with white embossing powder. Oh, I got this tool. Isn't it fabulous? It's a Lindy Stamp Gang. It's like a real surgeon's tweezer. I do think I'll use it more often than a normal tweezer. So I'm first heat embossing the title with white embossing powder, also Tukaneko, but I thought it was a little bit too white after I had done it. Actually, I did plan this, but I wasn't sure if I was going to use the bridle as a top coat. So I'm covering it now with bridal embossing powder, which is kind of creamy and see-through, translucent, with some glitter. It's like a very soft greenish glitter. You'll see that when we're done on the close-ups, and I'm simply melting the powder now. There you can see it just does look a little bit softer than the pure white that I had on first. So I'm adhering that with my Aleene's glue. And sorry, I only saw all my hair when I looked at the video. I need to move my camera forward a bit, I think, so that I don't lean over my table, but I hadn't filmed, I don't know, for 8 or 9 months. Adding a little heart there to the right, and now I colored these art stones like 2 years ago with all-purpose inks. I was going to use it for something, but then never did, and they've been sitting in my drawer for so long, and I decided that tonight I am going to use these. So I'm simply picking them up after putting some Finnabar 3D matte gel onto a brush. I'm not using gloss because I don't want the shine there when I do the photography. You do understand that the difference between matte and gloss is that there will be a shine if I use the gloss. And this is just a detail, so it's not supposed to be an overwhelming element. I do apologize for all my hair. Oh my word, and I saw some grey hairs as well. I suppose it's about time. Anyway, so now I'm adding some 13 Arts little teeny weeny micro beads. They are so teeny, and I'm simply sprinkling them in the same places where I have the art stones, and I'm adding some dark brown ones as well. They're a little bit bigger. You can also see that in the close-ups. They will simply stick where they find some adhesive, and I just shake off the excess because I'm being careful applying them with a spoon, trying to be less wasteful as I'm growing older. Okay, now I'm painting my heart. I'm using my Prima Confections again. 2 colors. First put a base coat of the brownish one down, then the yellow, and I'm going to be giving it some shine using my Perfect Pearls. Oh, sorry, I don't know what I did there, if you heard that katring. So I'm adding some shimmer, and now I'm going to give some splats, finish the project off with some splats. I put some heavy gesso into my old golden gesso jar, and I added lots of water to it. And now when I want to do gesso splats, I just shake it up really well. And then it makes it's almost like a like foam, you know. It gets all bubbly, and then when you make the splats, it actually has a texture. It's really cool. I actually love doing that. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and there you go. There you can see the project. And I do hope that you enjoyed it. I loved making it, and until next time. Okay, bye.